Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We have Joan slamming Martha. Interesting story here. A golden brawl. You heard of the Golden Corral? We've got the Golden Brawl. She says to Martha, Martha doesn't know them like I do. That after Martha made a joke saying the guys aren't hot enough for her. Okay, so these are good-looking dudes, okay? I actually disagree with Martha that they're not good looking. The guys from the Golden Bachelor they're all hunks. There's a lot of good looking guys. But Martha was also just, not being too serious. So we're not going to make too much out of it, but I'm going to share exactly what Joan said. We'll play her response for you guys right now. Do me a favor, double check that you're subscribed. I don't overdo it and tell people to subscribe too much anymore. It's futile. It's annoying. But every once in a while, YouTube will unsubscribe people unwillingly. So just double check, make sure, hit the subscribe button if you aren't. And we have a new channel out for the podcast. It's called The Rush Hour with Dave Neal on Instagram. Oh my gosh, look, we're verified. I just noticed that. How crazy. All you got to do is pay $15 a month. All right, but I've got reels here. I've got thoughts that are very unique to, I tell you what, we'll play the Joan content, but first, here's a reel on my Instagram. The first reel I posted. Other news. Kendrick was on Call Her Daddy podcast, and she says she does not return your phone call. Have a listen.
If you need to get a hold of me, you're gonna have to text me. If you want an email back, you're gonna have to wait 2 weeks. You might as well send me a postcard in the mail.
I get it. If someone doesn't leave me a voicemail, and all right, so anyway, you can see my takes on those pressing pop culture topics right there. It's called The Rush Hour with Dave Neal. That's the Instagram. Of course, I have the link to it. Or you can also just scan this QR code if you want to go straight to the podcast. All right, let's dive into this conversation. Golden Bachelorette responds to Martha Stewart's diss about the show. By the way, the Daily Mail is a ADHD person's nightmare. Look at the screen right now. We've got Medicare.gov. We've got Amazon ads. There's a piggy bank. Somebody's bowling. There's ticket sales. Chad Bobo is up there running for... What the hell is going on? This is insanity. Let's try to find the article that's somehow buried into this capitalistic nightmare. You guys think I have too many ads? Look at this, my eyes. Golden Bachelorette responds to Martha Stewart's diss about the show. She responded to what Martha had to say. Joan revealed that she even slid into the homemaking mogul's DMs on Instagram. So Joan, and by the way, Joan's a lot younger than Martha Stewart, right? I don't know the age. Look at Martha Stewart age. I spelled her name wrong. 83 years old. And what's Joan, 69 or 70? So Martha, and again, Martha's modeling for Playboy. I mean, what a career, right? She served time in jail. Speaking of jail time, if you want an update on the Clayton Echard paternity scandal, I've given one on the Patreon today. We'll get into that more later. So let's go back here. So anyhow, Joan offered her responses, but I'm going to share the video of what Joan actually said, and it'll share the clip of Martha speaking on Watch What Happened Live, which is Andy Cohen's show. Now, just so you guys know, when I share certain news, the copyright requirements are very strict. Sometimes you can share a 30-second video, no big deal. Other times, they'll get you in the first 8 seconds. So I might be talking over some parts of this. As annoying as that might sound, I'm just trying to prevent the video from getting blocked, okay? Let's have a listen to what Joan had to say on the Grandma's Hot Takes show on Access Hollywood. I'm assuming this is someone's grandma. I don't know whose grandma this is. So we have Access Hollywood's Lauren Erbert and her 78-year-old grandma, Linda. So Linda is the exact middle age between Martha Stewart and Joan here. So real interesting stuff.
I do want your hot take, Joan, because Martha Stewart recently said that she would not be the Golden Bachelorette because the guys aren't hot enough.
And I think they're very hot. I thought you had a good group to pick from.
Well, by the way,
I liked all of them.
I DM'd her last night.
All right, so there it is. So Joan responded to Martha's DM'd Martha after Martha made these comments on Watch What Happens Live, which, by the way, I would love to do my own version of Watch What Happens Live. It's what they do is interesting. It's fun. It's great. But I do see that there's a missed opportunity for this. I'm not quite there, but I do think within the next 5 years, our channel will be big enough that I can hire the right production staff to have a live show with audience. Just a thought. By the way, if you want to see me tomorrow night, Friday night, I've got a show at 9 p.m. I think it's at Third Coast, which is a venue in Nashville.
If asked, would you go on the Golden Bachelor?
Absolutely not.
For
what? What? For what?
I don't know. $1 million an episode, Martha?
That is not enough.
Martha, $1 million an episode?
So Martha says no thanks to $1 million an episode. And of course, she's there with her good pal Snoop Dogg. I guess Martha's promoting her new CBD line, which is fantastic. I mean, could you imagine Martha going, promoting a gummy? Like, you'll be doing dishes floating on cloud 9 with my CBD gummy.
0.
No.
No.
10 million?
The guys aren't hot enough.
Okay, the guys are not hot.
All right, so that's Martha's standard, Connecticut charm. And by Connecticut charm, I mean elitism. But she's kidding. She's very dry. She's got a very British, dry sense of humor. But the guys aren't hot enough. It's like, okay, Martha, I don't think anything she's saying is serious.
About money. It's about how hot the guys are.
All right.
She said,
She's ready, yeah, but I did, and I said, okay, dating is hard out there, and I had a great group of guys. She doesn't know him like I know him.
No.
And by the way, I love that Joan's defending her guys here. I don't think she needed to, but I think it's all in jest. I think if Martha was pressed, she'd go, no, they're fine. Pascal, these are good looking. What does she want? George Clooney ain't available.
I got to know the inside of them as well as the outside, and both are wonderful.
You were lucky. I liked all of them.
They are great
Even from
guys.
the beginning, I said to Lauren, I like this group of guys.
Yeah, you had a good group of
The
guys.
team
good
did
variety.
The team did a great job of picking them, because even if before I knew them, what they were about and their stories and their backstories are also wonderful. I mean, they are there for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the thing with Golden Bachelor, which I've said is one of the reasons why it's so successful. Now, this season is not successful from a rating standpoint, but I don't think ratings tell the full story. I think they're doing a really good job, and it's worth continuing to invest in it. But what makes the show so successful from a storytelling standpoint is these aren't 25-year-olds. These are 65-year-olds. They've got triple the life experience. They've hit their post-plateau in their lives. People physically plateau in their 30s, 40, late 20s to early 40s. That's when you start to lose your testosterone as men. And look, I don't want to get into the whole biology of it, but you start to, experience the aging effects of life. So for them to go on the show, and it's like, no offense, we love Kenny and his 8-pack abs, and Thomas, 6'6", strong, tall cup of water. We love all of that. But where's their adversity in the dating world? The Golden Series provides that.
Yes.
When they got out of the limos that first night and they started walking towards me, every single one of them did something memorable and made me want to get to know them more.
Right.
And I guess Martha sort of didn't watch or didn't see what I saw in them, and maybe you have to be in person.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they were special guys.
No,
I
it's
thought
coming
so.
off
I
the
liked
screen
them.
too. I think they're totally great
I
guys.
feel like everybody's falling in love with them. I'm like, what's wrong with you, Martha?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you, Martha?
Awesome
yeah.
guys.
What's wrong with you, Martha? Hey, maybe it's just her CBD talking. Who knows?
Exactly. Good old Martha.
But I DM'd her last night. I'm waiting for a response.
I bet
All right, if we get a response from Martha, we'll let you know.
she will respond.
I hope
And then
so.
maybe she'll give Love on the Golden Bachelorette a chance.
Maybe we'll invite her to the finale.
Well, maybe
I
meet
think
in
that's what
person.
you need to do.
I know.
That's what, because now we have
In
a
person,
group
good
of single
man.
guys. Maybe one of them with Martha.
Could happen.
Now I like Joan here because she's selling the show, saying, "Hey, we'll invite Martha to the finale. She can come hang out. Maybe Martha could design the florals for the, who knows?" But there must be a little bit of pressure for Joan to know that her season's not rating that high. As I said, I did the She's All Batch podcast today. It'll be coming out on their YouTube channel and their podcast. But I talked about, look, Joan's season is on a Wednesday. It's during a time where there's a lot going on between the election cycle and football and all these other things. It's not the time that many people are watching this. Now, if you had to remind me when Gary's season was. In fact, was Gary's season last fall? So maybe let me ask the Patreon. Patreon, when was Gary's season? When did it air? Did it air in the fall or the summer? Either way, his season was a cultural moment. Joan's is not that because it's not the premiere. It's the first Bachelorette, but it's not, it's not what Gary's season was. But I do think that the stories are still rich. And for that reason, I don't blame Joan for how she's handled the drama. Now, the producers, like on The Bachelor, they wouldn't want this, right? They would want, people to be blindsided in that if it bleeds, it leads moment. Joan's not going there. It's all love. All the guys love each other. There's almost no drama whatsoever. It was so polite. That doesn't lead to people going online talking about things. But, sometimes you just want a warm bowl of soup.
Maybe one of them with grandma.
Oh, yeah, you never know.
You gotta come too.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
All right, so everybody wants a shot at love on the Golden Series. From Natalie, Nick Viall's wife, she wants to get her mom on the show. I think between all the alumni from The Bachelor, there are so many people that have been in the Bachelor franchise. Believe it or not, pretty soon, some of them will be old enough to be Golden Bachelor contestants, right? You've got people that sort of aged out of the Bachelor series, but hey, they're only like 10 years away from being in this series. And again, I made the joke saying, Victoria Fuller, maybe she would be a contestant. Who doesn't want a zaddy out there? But they're not going to do that. I always thought I was confused when they initially launched Gary Turner's season because I thought he was actually a lot younger than what they were going for. But when it turned out, he wasn't exactly young. He was just in really good shape. I still think the show misrepresents your average person in their golden years. They find people like Joan. No offense to Joan, but Joan's beautiful. And again, I'm still not saying other people aren't, but Joan's I don't think she represents your standard golden story. I could be wrong. Maybe there isn't a standard. Maybe everyone's so unique or whatever. But either way, I think one of the issues we had with Gary's season, and we'll wrap up after this, is that, people are rooted real deeply into their family proximity by the time they get to this age. And you're not going to find people that are just willing to move across the country for someone else. So does the show need to do a better job casting based on proximity to the lead? Who will the next lead be? Will it be Kelsey Anderson's dad, Mark? He's still kind of young. He's like 57 or something. We'll have to see how it all plays out. But there you have it. Joan slams Martha. We'll be back with more after this.